when I read her book, it was definitely a page turner for me. I just kept turning pages until I was done. I'm sitting here and I keep talking about book after book after book. I read I read one called My Husband is a Mass Murderer, and it was awesome to me. I read it. This book was just awesome. I could not put it down. I started reading it at something like 10 o'clock at night, and I was starting to fall asleep as I was reading it. Not because it was boring, but because I was getting sleepy. And I was like trying to force myself to stay awake because I did not want to stop reading it. And as soon as I woke up, and Angela can attest to this, as soon as I woke up, I didn't really do anything. I went right back to that book until I finished it. And I finished the book. I guess it was like 10 or 11 o'clock that morning. It wasn't a hard read because, admittedly, I'm not a fast reader. However, the book it was just good. It was a page turner. So I bought that on Amazon for Kindle, and now to Anjali Shabazz, Sister Anjali, the Radical Sister. She's written a couple books, and her first is This Black. Phenomenal book. And for me, it falls into the category of speculative urban fiction. I don't use the term Afrofuturism, or I try not to. And in another podcast, I'll explain why. Speculative urban fiction. Phenomenal book, and I don't like doing spoilers, and so I know that, and I've been telling Angela I'm going to read it all over again, and it's because she's about to release the sequel, which has not yet been named, but she's finishing up the sequel, and I kind of want to go into it fresh again, Angela said, well, when I start reading the second one, it's going to just, take me back into the first one. But I want to have them kind of flow into each other. She also wrote a nonfiction book called Furnace of Affliction. These are radiation cures because of the fact that the world is irradiated. Some of you may know that, some of you may not. If you want to learn about it, then go to The Radical Sister on YouTube and find out about it. And a lot of the information is jaw-dropping, guaranteed. So This Black and Furnace of Affliction are both available right now for sale on Amazon.com. So all of that said, this is actually running longer than I wanted to because it's like the initial podcast or the initial broadcast. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about what this podcast is about, what the channel is about. Again, is for Black readers and Black writers. And I'll be discussing a lot of things in the future, one of which is my personal reasons for writing and counting myself or considering myself as a pro-Black writer and what that means, at least what it means to me. Also, I'll be discussing, again, different books I'm reading. I'm reading one called Goliath right now. The author, I cannot remember his name. And I should have been better prepared, but I didn't. But I'm reading a book called Goliath right now, and it's a pretty intense book. So I'll probably be discussing that in the future, but before that, I'll talk about things like, My Husband is a Mass Murderer, or Frenzied by Brandon Massey, or This Black by Anjali Shabazz, or, and so on. The Path to Brightness, T.J. Riley, and so on, and as well as my own book, like I said. If you want to find out about me, find out about my work, please don't hesitate to go to ayapoyapa.com. That's all you got to remember, ayapoyapa.com. If you look at the site on a cell phone, I only have a couple pages up for that, for the cell phone, that's formatted for a cell phone. But if you go on a computer or a tablet, it opens up the whole world to you. It's a intense site. And when I say intense, that I just mean that it has a lot going on to it, not in a confusing way, but I tried to put as much value in it as I could. And on that site, along with my written works, you will also see my art, and I have a section for my music. And the music isn't something I'm selling. The music is my hobby, and I love to make music, and I love for people to hear it and give me feedback on it. As long as you're not ripping me down. I mean, I'm not like some professional musician, but I do love composing and writing music and playing music. And as far as my art goes, all my life I've worked in the graphic art field, or most of my adult life, and have been a cartoonist pretty much since I was 5 or whatever. And so I have my art up there also. But mainly it's an author's website and talks about my work and what's available now, what's upcoming. So I know I'm repeating myself, so I'm going to go on and close this up. I want to thank you for taking the time to stop by and listen. And again, go to ayapoyapa.com. And we also have a site called doayamedia.com. That's DOEAIA media.com. I think that's Doaya Media. Let me check it, because I'm going to say, because it's, Angela herself said, that's kind of like difficult to remember and to spell, because Doaya stands for Descendants of Enslaved Africans in America, is what Doaya stands for. So it's DOEAIA media.com. doayamedia.com. If you have trouble remembering that, hopefully you can remember Descendants of Enslaved Africans in America media.com. And there you will find at least the first issue of UP magazine, UP magazine, which stands for Unapologetically Pro-Black magazine. You'll find the Drapetomaniac podcast. You'll find UP TV. Let's see, I have my blog on there, which I haven't written in a minute. The Doaya Media store is on there. The Doaya Media bookstore is on there. So be sure and check that out, as well as checking out, once again, ayapoyapa.com. Ayapoyapa is I can't spell my own name. IYAPOYAPA.com. And if you have trouble remembering Ayapoyapa, just remember this. It's an acronym that stands for, if you aren't pissed off, you aren't paying attention. That's Ayapoyapa. And so, thank you for listening. Peace and blessings to you. And I will see you again soon, or talk to you again soon. And in the future, I know I'm extending this even further, but in the future, there will be interviews, and I'm hoping to interview Sister Ajalee about her upcoming sequel to This Black, and about her two projects that she's already completed and has on the market. They've been on the market for a while. This Black and Furnace of Affliction. I will interview for her, and also I'm going to try to interview T.J. Riley about the Path to Brightness. So that said, thank you for listening. Peace and blessings. And I would say I'll catch you on the run, but that actually belongs to the Drapetomaniac podcast. So I'll figure out some kind of a catchphrase for this. But until then, just keep on reading. And keep on writing if you're a writer. And if you want to write, then write. Talk to you soon.